America's Mayor, live, coming to you from Manchester, New Hampshire. Not from Mount Calvary, which what it looks like, I know. But that is a banner. You see trust there? Let me move this way. See trust? You know what the word before that is, right? God, right? God, in God we trust. So this is a combination of religion and government, and what religion means to our government. Because as you know, I think the most important thing that has to be done to fix America is to bring God back, who some time ago got thrown out. They threw him out of the schools. They threw him out of the public square. They threw him out of the front of houses. And you couldn't have a nativity scene. Ted, I saw a beautiful thing the other night when I was just going around looking at podcasts and things like that. And apparently it's happened at least 3 or 4 times.
What'd you see, man?
It was a baseball game, a ladies' baseball game. Maybe the crowd was 1,000 people, 2,000 people. And the announcer said, play ball. Because of technical difficulties, we cannot do the Star Spangled Banner. So the catcher was on the mound. I'm talking to the pitcher. So the catcher starts running back to start the game. And all of a sudden, the team in the dugout walks out and lines up along the first baseline. And the whole crowd eventually, and within a few seconds, is singing the Star Spangled Banner. They did it on their own. And then I looked and I saw there were 3 or 4 occasions where this has happened. So it makes you feel a little better when you see something like that. We'll try to find it. Try to find one of them, Ted. They're about 3 different possibilities that were there about a year ago. So what I told you on the Rudy Giuliani show, if you were watching, is I want to explain to you who this rabbi is, because this is extraordinary. Chaim Steinmetz, who's a very, very distinguished rabbi in New York, Kalilith Jeshurun synagogue is one of the bigger ones in New York, and it's a very I don't know if they would object to this, but it's a very left wing, and the more Orthodox Jews who have their own perspective, right? So, and who am I to figure out who's right and wrong? But the more Orthodox Jews consider them too liberal. And I think they consider the more Orthodox Jews too rigid. But in any event, they've always been left. So I think he was with Mondani when Mondani gave his 30-minute tirade the other day attacking AIPAC. Now, AIPAC is the Jewish Israel Jewish representatives in Washington. They're lobbyists. Now, for him to be complaining about AIPAC, do you know how many lobbyists the Islamic groups have? Like CARE, and CARE takes care of all the terrorist groups. I don't think AIPAC takes care of terrorist groups. I mean, what does he think we're like stupid? We don't know these things? I mean, there are on K Street, Ted, what are there, 5,000 AIPACs? Now, they are very effective and they're very good, but they're not. Believe me, the teachers union, Democrats would sell out AIPAC in a second for the teachers union money. They're not the most powerful. He described, and they're all Jewish. This man is filled with hate. He described them, and as I said, I think, but I can't be sure that the rabbi was there. Maybe the rabbi was a supporter of his. I don't know. He accused them of being monsters. Monsters. Millions in dark money. It isn't dark money. It's money. Just like all of the groups that lobby. It's not one of the crooked lobbying groups. We do have some of those. You may not like their positions. I don't think they've ever had a scandal. It isn't like the Southern Poverty Law Center where they maintained the Ku Klux Klan for 12 years so they could have some reason to raise money. Let's see if we can burn a few black churches so we can raise money. Now, this is Mondani. Now is the time of monsters. These monsters take many forms today. In those who fund bad faith attacks, those who would rather spend far more on political contributions than they would ever be made to pay in taxes. I seriously doubt that too many of the members of AIPAC make political contributions more than they pay in taxes, because a lot of the members of AIPAC are pretty damn rich and they have to pay very high taxes. Remember, the top 1% pays something like 30% of the taxes in America, and the top 20% pay more than half. In AIPAC, for whom the only thing more frightening than democracy being allowed to run its course, now listen, is an end to genocide? AIPAC is in favor of genocide, you little shit. And Netanyahu's wars, they move millions in dark money to accomplish a single goal, to preserve their power so they can turn us against one another. Well, as the rabbi says, the person turning us against each other is Mayor Mondani, who, he says, his rhetoric, which has been like this now for 4 or 5 years, hateful Jewish and anti-Jewish rhetoric, anti-Catholic rhetoric. And he says this is the reason you get things like the June 8. Like the assassin Elias Rodriguez, who attacked the staff members in Washington, D.C. for no reason other than they were Jewish. This guy empowers them. If you take these, since anti-Semitism is an illness and sickness that we have, if you add to it with emotional appeals, and there are unstable people out there who have this now 2,000-year-old illness called anti-Semitism, you can't tell me you don't understand. You're going to push them to the point of violence. I mean, anti-Semitism has been the cause of more murder, more killing over the centuries than any other form of prejudice. And you can say a lot of things about AIPAC. I mean, some of their positions are wrong, but they're not criminals, and they're not stealing money, and they're not. What they're trying to do, their main purpose really is to maintain a homeland for the Jewish people because of anti-Semitism. The hatred that is now being displayed for the Jewish people, each time it's displayed, there's another rationale for the existence of the state of Israel. You know, there were people that were at a point a while back that Israel maybe wasn't as necessary because, at least in America, anti-Semitism was over. I never bought quite that. But I really am shocked to see the level of it in America. I remember about 2005, I represented the United States based on appointment by President Bush at an anti-Semitism conference in Vienna. Oh boy, was I filled with self-righteousness about America, right? Because there was all these attacks on synagogues in France, the early days of the Muslim attacks on France and England. And I used to say, okay, well, it happened. This wouldn't happen in America. I was shocked that it was happening in Europe after what happened with the Nazis, but it had gotten pretty bad. But to think that it could happen in America, I mean, I was the mayor of either the first or the second largest Jewish city in the world. There were at one point there were more Jewish people in New York than in Tel Aviv or Jerusalem. It's possible Tel Aviv may have more now, and that could be because the Jewish population has decreased a little. It used to always be well over 1 million people. It's certainly the second largest Jewish city in the world. And I imagine, and if we were going to have anti-Semitism, I would have thought it was like in the Ku Klux Klan areas. I had no idea that the Southern Poverty Law Center was actually funding the continuation of the Ku Klux Klan. So he does a very good job, the rabbi does, of tracing this back to communism and the Soviets. Of course, you could trace it back to Hitler very easily, but I don't think you realize that the Soviets were anti-Zionists also. And one of the very, very, very strong movements at the end in the last 15 years of the Soviet Union was the tremendous organizational structure that was built by Christians and Jews to get Jewish people out of Russia and bring them to Israel, where they'd be able to be safe and not be put in gulags. So President Trump is really, really playing hardball with the Republicans. And I don't know what the outcome's going to be. I think I explained this to you before, but it's worth another explanation because it's a bit of a puzzle, right? So Tulsi Gabbard left on Friday as head of the intelligence agencies. Now, that's a very, very critical position. She sits on top of the CIA. She sits on top of many of the military intelligence agencies. And I don't know, gosh, we have about 30 of them. So she is the director of national intelligence. She runs that office called DNI. It's a new post 9/11 position. Kind of the head of CIA used to do that informally before, or they have somebody in the White House that would oversee all of it. Okay, but she was doing that job. So the president, when she left, the president put in an appointee who was going to be an acting. And the Republicans went crazy, didn't want him. And they agreed. They agreed that if he withdrew him and appointed U.S. Attorney Clayton, who was the U.S. Attorney in the Southern District, and also Jay Clayton, and very well respected and very well liked, that they would nominate him. Well, and some of the Democrats agreed to that. Now the Democrats are saying, well, maybe they're not going to. Maybe they're not going to vote for him. So what the president has done is he hasn't withdrawn Clayton, but he's held up the hearing. He was supposed to go for a hearing last week. The president said, don't go for the hearing. He has now installed the guy they've made into a monster as the head of DNI, who started today. So he's got to be torturing them, and I'm going to tell you, I have a feeling that they're worried about what he's going to find out about them, because he's not afraid. So let's see how long it lasts. So I think it wasn't going to last very long because they were willing to make the trade. So the president upped the bet, the ante, right? So now the president has said, no, there's another thing I want. Now you have this you have this piece of legislation that comes from the National Security Act, Section 702, and Section 702 allows the government to wire foreign people without getting any permission. They can just do it. And they don't even have to notify the person. Now that, for some reason, I can't remember exactly why, the Democrats held it up in exchange for trying to get something else. So it passed its authorization date. So now the government doesn't have that tool. And a lot of the foreign intelligence people say this is terrible, this is awful, who knows what's going to happen to us. And I would say the president is probably 50-50 on this. I think he sees the value of it in gaining intelligence. But like me, he's also been a victim of it. This was used, even though he isn't a foreigner, nor am I, to surveil us. Not just us, hundreds of us, Trump people. And I'm still in favor of it because I used to use it when I was in the Justice Department. And I think that you just got to put up with the violations of it because it does it gives us a lot of help with a lot of countries that are trying to do damage to us. But I also realize that it has some problems. And I do think there are things they could do to tighten it up. Like it could be reviewed every year to make sure that somebody isn't fooling around the way the Democrats were for 5 years. And we could catch it right away rather than after 5 years of misuse. They didn't bother to do that. So now he says, I'm not going to sign that unless you pass the SAVE Act. Now, the SAVE Act would require an end to massive paper ballots and to long election seasons. You know, there are some places where the election takes 3 months, a month and a half of voting and a month and a half of counting, because it's hard to make sure that your party wins all the time. You can't just do it like that. So that one, the Republicans say you don't have the votes for it. So who's gonna blink there, Ted? You know, it really depends on the president's evaluation of 702. If he really thinks we don't need it, and he really thinks the danger of abuse outweighs the value of it, then what is he losing by not signing it?
Yep, I agree with that assessment. It'll see. We'll have to see how much. I mean, yeah, there's some public, among even some Republicans, they're getting pressure not to get on board, and of course, Democrats are just doing it.
But see, he can veto it. And he can veto if they pass 702.
Right.
He can. They'll never get 2/3.
No.
They'll never get 2/3.
No, that's true.
So he's got them.
But they'll threaten other ways to.
It sounds like he'll threaten too.
Jam them up in other ways, right? It depends how much they see him as a lame duck or not. And remember we have people like this Louisiana Cassidy.
He's still not going to get 2/3.
Of course not.
So I don't know. I think he's willing to hang in there for a long, long time.
I agree.
Otherwise, he wouldn't have done it. He just wouldn't have done it.
I agree with that.
Because he has to know this isn't going to happen easily. Kamala Harris was back for a little entertainment again. Now, Ted, I'm going to give you some time because we'll take a little break because I want to get her recent grammar lesson and her convoluted sentence using the word hope, and then telling us that hope can be used as a verb. Well, that's true. But this is reminiscent of what she said when she was running with another word. that she said could be used as a verb. So
we need to know that that is what inspires our hope as much as anything. I really, truly believe this. We each have light inside of us. And we need to know that that is what inspires our hope as much as anything external to ourselves. And when we feel that and not allow an election or an individual to dampen that light, and instead let that light kind of carry us, in particular through moments of darkness, that we not only act on that hope, but we inspire that hope in each other. And in particular at this moment, it is so important that we not only have hope, but that we understand that that should be a verb. I really, truly believe this.
Do you know what the hell she's talking about? At the end, she says that hope can be used as a verb. So about a year ago, she did the same thing with faith. And she said faith could be used as a verb. So her grammar is improving because faith cannot be used as a verb. The verb for faith is believe. Now, I hoped is a verb. I hope is a verb. But I faith is not a verb. I believe is a verb. So somehow between then and now, she must have gotten a grammar lesson. So her grammar has improved, but her ability to make sense when she's talking has gotten worse.
Wow.
I remember the first one that got me. It was the one where she's with all the children, and it was the beginning of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, and she said, "Children, Russia is a very big country. And Ukraine is a very small country."
Right. Hopefully she runs again.
Isn't she the leading candidate, or is Newsom the leading candidate?
Newsom, I think she's still technically the leading candidate, but that should change as other people announce. I think people don't really know who's in, who's out.
So shall we take our break?
Yeah, we can take our break.
Let's take our break.
Editing a video. Yeah, let's go. So we gotta pay the bills. Check out our sponsors. Support these great. In this case, cost.
U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal. 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month,
Wow.
including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax,
Wow.
channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly,
Wow.
where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code RUDY. Act fast. These deals are selling out.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. deep green, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because we like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster, and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee. You know that for quite some time, one of our most dedicated and probably the sponsor that is closest to our heart is Tunnel to Towers. Not probably, it is, because I've told you the story often enough. I'll repeat it around September 11, but I'll tell you how I was involved in helping them to some small extent, at least getting established. And but in any event, you remember that the basis of Tunnel to Towers is that Stephen Siller, a firefighter with the New York City Fire Department, was off duty when the attack on the Twin Towers occurred. In fact, he was ready to go play, or going to go play golf with his brother Frank, who now runs Tunnel to Towers. And he saw, or his wife saw on their television set, that there was this terrible attack on the Twin Towers. And he said, I've got to go. And but he was off duty. He didn't have to go in until the nighttime after he played golf. But he went to his firehouse, which was about 4 blocks from his house. The firehouse was locked because they were all at the Twin Towers. He somehow got in, got his bunker gear. The bridge was closed down. He grabbed his bunker gear. It weighs 70 pounds, by the way. Then, it's actually better now, and he ran across the Brooklyn Bridge with it, 2 miles, and he ran to the towers. Now, I can recreate the times that he did it and what the building looked like. When he was running over the bridge, I'm sorry, when he was running through the tunnel and came out and saw the tower, it would look like hell. Nobody in their sane mind would run into it except a firefighter or police officer. And he did, and he lost his life. He had children. One of them was only 9 months old, and he was named after his dad, Stephen Jr. So Stephen, who also has worked a lot for Tunnel to Towers, that takes care of firefighters, police officers, soldiers who are killed or seriously injured. It builds homes for them. He also belongs to a group called the Steel Across America Tour. And it began in May, and the whole purpose of it is to take steel, remnants of the World Trade Center, and to go around the country and do educational lectures on this so that young people remember those people who died for us. And this whole thing is 10,500 miles. They've got some big trucks, and they're stopping at national monuments, museums, memorials. They've got an arrangement with Major League Baseball in 35 cities and 23 states with the World Trade Center beam on a flatbed truck. We're sharing those stories of heroes, men like my father, and those stories are going to inspire the next generation yet again, Siller Jr. told the Post. Of course, it's going to culminate on September 11 for the 25th anniversary of the terrorist attack. On that day, they're going to retrace his dad's steps. through the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel. He served with Squad 1 in Park Slope, Brooklyn. He had 5 children. The Silla family is, I think they're saints. But we'll talk about them. But we do talk about them quite a bit, and we'll talk about them more. And if you haven't made your $11 a month contribution, make it, because it's going to get a home for somebody that doesn't have arms and legs. Can you do anything better with $11 a month than that? I bet you can't, if you're a decent person. So there's a lot of controversy over the Iran deal, and I just read all I just read all the articles, and they're all right, because we don't know what's going to happen. It's a group of guidelines that was set up to stop the killing right now, which is good, and to see if it can be worked out. We'll find out in a month or two if it's a good deal or a bad deal. It depends on who prevails the most in the things that are needed. Does the United States get all the nuclear stuff from them and assure itself that it's all gone? That would be a great, great result. We're already in pretty good territory because we set them back 20 years. And maybe even more than that, because they don't have any money. But if we do what Obama did and help to expedite their getting money and getting back into the nuclear business and funding terrorists, then we haven't accomplished very much. There's no reason to believe we're going to do that. So let's wait. Let's see. Let's see what happens. I think, and I'm obviously I'm not going to get through to the crazy liberals, but I'm talking to my fellow conservatives right now. Some of whom have lost a little faith. So I don't know. Have faith. You still have faith, and it's not a verb, by the way. Faith is not a verb.
You still have faith in your friend.
Well, why should I? He's the first president to do a damn thing about Iran, so why shouldn't you have faith in him? All the rest of them didn't do anything about Iran. All they did is watch him get more and more powerful, kill more and more people. And at least he set them back 10 years. He's taken away from them their empire. And just so I'm not going to mention. I was going to mention the people who I know are Trump supporters, and they're all they're angry. I mean, not all. Like I thought Miranda Devine, who had doubts about it, but came to pretty much the conclusion I came to, which is I had doubts, she said, about other things he did, and it always turned out right. So why not have confidence in him? I think I did. I'm not sure I told you on this show, but there are a lot of indications that if we play our cards right, that government's going to fold within 6 months. Now, there is a provision in the MOU that says neither country can interfere in the internal affairs of another country. So people said, well, that means America can't help to bring down the government. Well, of course we can't. You don't need that provision to know that. Not that we would. But isn't that the kind of stuff that the CIA, isn't that why we have them? But they would never do anything like that. We've never taken down another government. It just happens. I hope you're understanding what I'm saying. And there are people that say the women are going to do it because you remember when Masa Amini was killed. That was in 2022, just a short while ago. She was a lovely young lady. If I recall correctly, she didn't have the veil on, but she did have her face covered, or she had her head covered. And she just had like a little piece of hair coming down like this. And they killed her. Now, they just caught a singer and her little group of 8 or 10 people who were not dressed properly. And rather than killing her, it was actually 72 lashes. Now, it could be, and I'd have to look, that the part of Iran that the singer came from is a somewhat, don't think I'm stupid, a somewhat more liberal part, somewhat more humane part. They just beat the hell out of you. They don't kill you if you don't wear your hat. That's the singer right there. Now, if that's what she's being penalized for, that would, from their point of view, that'd be much worse than just having a little hair sticking out. She's got her arm sticking out. She's got a low-cut dress. Even as recently as 8 or 10 years ago, if you were in the Emirates, women had to cover your arms. Women couldn't have a dress like that, and that's not Iran. So I don't know what they caught her with, but she wasn't dressed properly. And I think they put her in jail for about 5 months. But they just lashed her. A woman. So now, and this is, Iran has been cut off without the internet. I don't know if they're supposed to reestablish it. So we really have sketchy information about Iran. But I've been getting a lot of information that the women have become very, very active. Last week, there were images of women in casual clothes. One woman had an I Love New York t-shirt on. Another one had a red t-shirt with an American flag on it. One had a Trump shirt on. Iran law dictates that all women and girls over the age of 12 must cover their hair with hijabs and wear traditional clothes. And I doubt what she had on was traditional clothes. Following the 1979 revolution. This is Sharia law. This is the law they want to establish in parts of Texas, that they have established in parts of Michigan and Minnesota and parts of England. Right now, as best they can tell, these not wearing appropriate head covers, there are 11,000 cases under investigation. So feminists, why do you oppose or trying to overthrow the government of Iran? You like to see women tortured? Just because they're women? Well, FIFA has really fascinated me. And I'm going to tell you that as they go into the second round now, this is going to be an elimination round. So this round, the top 2 in every division come out, and half of the 3s, the half that has the best record. The next round is a round of 32, correct, Ted? Correct. So they get cut in half, and they're out. And they say the playing is going to become much tighter. Now, there is a new play in soccer, and I decided I would be a soccer coach. So what I did is, it was in the Wall Street Journal, and I went ahead and I sketched it for you. So this is going to, we'll put up this. They call this the meat. They call this the meat wall. They started doing it 2 years ago with the Arsenal football team in England. Arsenal won the English championship. And since they've been doing this, I want you to listen to these stats. So what happens is, instead of, when you get a corner kick, instead of kicking it into the middle of the box, where they felt they got the best angle on the goalie, they now jam everybody up against the goal, defenders and kickers. It helps to screen the goalie to make him less effective. And here's what's happened with scoring. 70% of all corner kicks taken in the English league last season were called in-swingers aimed into the 6-yard box. Used to be only 48%. Well, they pretty much doubled it. How about this? Scoring almost doubled. Nearly 1 in 5 goals last year came from a corner kick. And that was an increase of 50% from the season before. So now, can we put it on? I'm trying to get a job as a soccer coach. We'll see. What do you think of America? Think we can win?
Can you turn it off and off? Can you turn the screen off and off?
Probably.
If you turn the screen off, will you lose your work or no?
If I turn my screen off?
Yeah.
No.
Turn it off and turn it on. Not the whole thing, just
I just did that.
like,
So-
hit the,
Now put it on.
there's a button on the side. Hit the button on the side. Put it back on.
All right. This is magic. Yeah, I have it back.
Can we come back to this? We have to
Yeah, we can come back to this. Why don't we do it after we listen to Alireza Jafarzadeh, the largest dissident group in Iran, and it's been the largest one for 47 years, 45 years. It's also the group that by far has lost the most people. Could be 100,000 people. 1 year alone, they lost 30,000. The present group, 40,000 were killed. The largest number of people were members of the MEK, Mujahideen el-Khalq, Organization of the People. And it's become a larger organization now, inculcating other dissident groups, including the ethnic minority groups that are extremely focused on as victims, first by the Shah and now by the Ayatollah. Those are people who ethnically do not have a Persian background. Like Azerbaijan is right to the north west, right on the border of Iran. It's in the northwest. The Azeris are people that originally come from Azerbaijan, but live in Iran. And that's true of about 17 groups, and 3 of them really are substantial. And the Shah had particular anger at them. And the son of the Shah, who wants to be the king, actually encouraged the Revolutionary Guard to kill them if they wanted to separate. Well, his father killed a lot of them, so I guess. Also, you should know that the MEK tried to have a rally this weekend in Florida. Now, they've had, in Paris, France. They've had rallies in Paris, France, I know, for 14, 15 years, because I've gone to about 10 of them. But I think they've been having them for 40 years. Well, the French canceled the rally this time. And they canceled it because of death threats from the regime and from the Savak survivors. Who are the Savak survivors? That was the secret police of the Shah, who have been doing that, who used the same terror tactics that they used to use when they would kill people for the Shah. So you got to be careful here, because they could also be working with each other. So they did try to go ahead with it. They couldn't. So they all drove, which I've made this drive many, many times, including just about a month and a half ago. They made a drive to Sur-l'Oise. Sur-l'Oise is a beautiful village about 50 miles out of Paris. It's where Paul Cézanne, Van Gogh, sorry. It's where Van Gogh died. And they had like a smaller group that had they did it in 2 sections, and they had a smaller group. The value of this is they're able to broadcast this to their people who are in Ashraf, who we saved from Iraq. And these people are warriors, the ones in Ashraf. They have a interim government all set up, which involves not just them, but 17 other groups. But these people in Ashraf, so they're able to broadcast to them, and they're able to broadcast inside Iran. Don't ask me to tell you how. But I know, because I broadcast myself inside Iran maybe 100 times. So they were able to do that. Alireza Jafarzadeh is their representative, or he really runs an organization in America that works with them. But he is the person who originally discovered in 2002 that the Iranians were enriching the Iranians were enriching uranium, and then again in 2005, and then again. He's the guy who led that effort. If it weren't for him, I don't know that we would know it. President Bush has said as much. So that isn't just me saying that. Also, there was a period of time that they were really trying to kill us, and they made 2 attempts with a group of them to kill me. And I remember they made an attempt. He was part of the second group that would have been killed with me. And then a few months later, out in Arizona, they caught people who were getting ready to kill him. That was probably his 5th death threat. I've only had 2, so he's a lot more experienced than I am. So here he is. Let's listen to him. Bring us up to date. Well, we have with us Alireza Jafarzadeh, and Alireza is still in Paris, France, or in France near Paris. And remember, we interviewed him, I think it was on Friday, and he was there getting ready for the rally on Saturday, which was in question. It only got to be in question about a day before. They had applied, MEK, NCRI, all of the organizations who are going to participate had applied. They had gotten permission. Of course, they've done this rally in different places in Paris. 15 years? I mean, I've been to about 8 of them.
Almost 20 years.
I've been to 8 or 10, I think, right? And you were doing them way before I got involved. And I remember every once in a while they would put pressure on the French government, but the French government usually would fight it off. So ultimately, they gave you some reasons, didn't they, as to why you couldn't go forward, and you rearranged it, and you had a pretty good rally anyway. But tell me how it came about, because I think it shows how desperate they're getting.
Yes, absolutely, Mayor. First of all, good to be on your show again, Mayor. And I'm still in Paris. As you correctly said, the rally was planned way in advance, several months in advance. They had worked out all the details, all the contractors. They worked out the details with the police, exactly where they're going to have the stages, the route for the march, all of the security. They had, big contractors for setting up stage, sound, all of the logistics, everything worked out until, less than 2 days before, when Araghchi, the Iran regime's foreign minister, called his French counterpart. And it was in public, in the media. They didn't say what they talked about, but clearly it had certainly had something to do with it, because only a couple hours after that, the police informed our people that we cannot have this rally go on. And they didn't specify any reasons or anything. They said, this is going to be canceled. You can't have it. There are certain risks involved in it. And suddenly this risk popped up. So our people quickly went to court. And during the court, it was presented that the reason that they wanted to cancel the rally because of the threat of terrorism and bombing of the rally, both by the Iranian regime, which, by the way, is trying to get back to the international community, and also a threat of bombing by the remnants of the Shah's dictatorship, the monarchical dictatorship, followers of the son of the Shah, Reza Pahlavi, and the Savak, which was the secret police of the Shah. But they have revived the Savak organization. It's cited in the documents in the court, and saying that they have threatened to disrupt it. And based on that, they wanted the rally canceled. Of course, our people said, there's no way in the world, this is totally impossible. It's against all of the arrangements we had done. And, over 1,000 buses were lined up to come. People were flying in, trains, all of that. Eventually, that morning, regardless of the court ruling, about 800 buses made their way in. Most of them were not allowed to get off the buses. Some of them did.
Remind us again where it was. It was
located in the heart of Paris. In the heart of Paris, it's a famous place known as Uban, which is very close to all the major places in the heart of Paris. Well-known place.
Close to the Arc de Triomphe.
It's close to actually the Etoile, where the main square in the heart of, and close to Napoleon Palace, all of that.
Okay.
Well-known place, very large place, and so people started showing up, and the police were trying to disperse them, regardless, and they started going to different locations in the city because the buses were here. We wanted to have our message, because this whole protest was against the executions in Iran and in favor of democracy and political pluralism in Iran, supporting Mrs. Rajavi and her 10-point platform. So about a total of nearly 50,000 people made their way, scattered in different places. I showed up early in the morning, and that's the picture I took, and I saw like different parts of Paris. So it was practically impossible to go the way it was planned. There was no stage, none of those things. So they quickly rearranged the whole thing and turned that into a conference, at least for the speakers. So within a few hours, Mrs. Rajavi delivered her keynote address at her headquarters in Auvers-sur-Oise, the headquarters of NCRI. Sure. So many, personalities had come from various European nations. You're very familiar with that, Mayor, from
how many people were you able to get out there? Because that's big, but it isn't the same thing as Paris.
No, definitely. This is only for this was only for the speakers.
Oh, I see.
All of the people
Sure,
who were going to attend, they had to be in the middle of the town. They couldn't make it, but they couldn't go the way they wanted to arrange it. But they made their message very clear that this whole rally was about freedom and democracy, and the French were kowtowing to the pressure coming from Tehran. And as you said, clearly showing how much the regime is afraid of this movement.
Did you take the threats as tactical or serious ones?
Well, if it were serious, you would have known it like way before it. So the way it was like presented, it was very clear that there may have been like tactical, but certainly they cited the regime, which has been threatening in the past. We know that. And also the remnants of the Shah's dictatorship, which is in recent months, they have become really aggressive,
Well,
going
they
after
threatened,
anyone.
Didn't they threaten some of the minority groups that they were going to kill? They were going to
Yes,
kill.
they have.
Personally, he said he thinks they should kill them.
Well, you know, the son of the Shah, when some of the Kurdish groups got together,
Was it the Kurds
he called
that he was
them
talking
terrorists. He called them, separatists, and he asked the army to suppress them. I don't know which army he's talking about. And then in between, they had the Savak resurrection, the secret police of the Shah, which was supposed to be defunct, but apparently they work in collaboration with the Ministry of Intelligence of Iran, and they had a rally with the T-shirts with the emblem of Savak and saying that, we're going to identify. And we're back.
Welcome back. You can see the rest of that interview tomorrow night, as well as we will play the full interview with Mayor Klitschko, former heavyweight champion of the world, and mayor of Kyiv for all of the months that they've been bombed, 4.5 years of bombing. And we played various parts of it. We never played the whole thing. And you really should get to know him. He's like a pure hero, one of the best heavyweight boxing champions ever, a PhD, a very decent and good man. And I don't know that Kyiv would have made it through in the condition that it's in. Remember, they're heading for bomb shelters at a moment's notice, and their babies are getting killed, and that's the biggest city in Ukraine, critical city in Ukraine. Well, I'm going to conclude by showing you this soccer play, because this has become all the thing in first in the English league, and now some of the others are. I'm going to show you a normal. There's a penalty. They get a corner kick. I don't know how. I mean, I guess it depends on what side of the field the penalty took place to decide where you kicked from. But you see, my X and the red marks the team on offense. Blue is the team on defense. Okay, so obviously, the guy kicking is on offense, right? So let me make sure I have this going right here. Okay, so here's there's your kicker right there. Okay, there he is right there. There's the kicker. So normally, the general theory in soccer, you see where that little dot is right there? That's about where you kick the ball. Now, normally they would have 3 or 4 people in here, but the goalie gets a really good view of that. So they're also going to have people over here, because he could kick it over here. Everybody moves this way, and then this guy kicks it back. But notice most of the area here is open, right? So he kicks it like this. It doesn't always, but this is the normal kick to there. One of these guys would come over, try to avoid the blockers, and take a shot at trying to put it in. And the goalie would get help from him. The goalie get help from him, but by and large, it'd be the goalie. Advantage for the goalie is he isn't blocked out. He isn't screened. This is the way kicking in soccer took place most of the time. Side kicks. Now we're going to show you when they do the meat wall. The meat wall puts everybody in an area about 6. What is it? About 6 yards, I think. Yeah, a 6-yard box. You see where the blue line is here? That's the 6-yard box. Everybody moves in there. Well, first of all, the offensive players move in there. They get right up to the goal. So then the defenders have to get right up to the goal. And now you've got everybody packed in front of the goal. And instead of kicking it here, he kicks it here. And the goalie has a much harder time because everybody's right up against him. He has no time to react. So if the guy finds an opening, it doesn't have to necessarily be this. Suppose this guy goes over here, then he kicks it like that. If you kick it from back here, you give the goalie a little more time to react. And the person who's going to be best at stopping it is the goalie. This play, this meat-packed play, has resulted in 50% more scoring. And you're going to see it. You're going to see it a lot. Not every team believes in it. There's also an argument that it's. Don't ask me to explain it. I'll go through this and figure it out for you. But there's some argument that it could be illegal, and I don't know that they've actually tried it yet. I don't know just how far they have gone with it in the World Cup. I'm not sure. But here's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. Can you put that up, Ted? That's what it looks like. Look, everybody's all jammed up together. I assume the red guys are the kicking team. I assume. Otherwise, the ball's going in there a lot more with black uniforms on. But this is Arsenal. This is Arsenal. And they're the ones who won the English championship. And that's the meat pack. And if you look down on their feed, right? Look down on their feed and look how close they are to the goal. Look at that. Look how close. They're almost in the goal box, right? And they've driven him back. They've driven him back into the goal box. He's over here. Now, that gives him less leverage, left and right. Come a little further out, he's got more room to go left and right. So, I mean, assuming if he ever gets it in here, right? I could just kick it right through. So that's it. And we're going to keep watching it to see the first time they do this, to see if it's successful. That'd be fun. So tomorrow night, we're going to have, you don't want to miss it. We'll have the full interviews with these two great heroes. The two places where the world is most in trouble right now, Ukraine, Russia, and the Middle East. And these two men are very much involved in it. And both have almost lost their lives because of it. We want you, of course, to pray for these people who it does seem after all this time on earth and after all that we've learned and after all that there shouldn't have to be wars anymore. Huh? Don't you ever just sit back and wonder? Sure you do. And when the president gets criticized, how about giving him a little room on the theory that he wants to try everything so that we don't have to slaughter 10,000 people, 20,000 people, 30,000 people. And, no matter how accurate you are, and we've been really remarkable, obviously you're going to kill some innocent people, both in Russia and in Ukraine and in Israel and in Gaza. The only thing with Gaza is they want their people to be killed. They put their innocent people in front. so that they can create a public relations problem. That's the nature of terrorism. So pray for the people of Israel and pray for the people of Ukraine. And make sure you pray for the people of Iran too. They don't want this. They're at their wits' end. There's plenty of information, and I wish we could get more of it, but it's good. But there's plenty of information, given how constricted it is, that that if they get any kind of break, they'll overthrow the government. So pray for them. And of course, we always have to pray for our president. He needs your guidance. It's too big a job for a man even as great as Donald Trump to do. And he's doing it as well as anybody ever has. So why don't we conclude, and we'll say it like a prayer, okay? God bless America. And go over now. Where are you going to go? Lindell TV for Dr. Maria. It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze,